Welcome to the Padres Postgame Show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. We'll take a trip down to the manager's office to hear from Mike Schilt. Plus, we'll bring you scores from around Major League Baseball. The Padres Postgame Show starts now on the Padres Radio Network.
2-1 to Fernando. That's hit in the air to very deep left center field. Oh, my goodness. Fernando Tatis Jr. way out to left center. Long home run. And the Padres' first hit of the night, a 2-run homer as they take a 2-0 lead.
Instant swag taker right there.
It was a very, very good Friday night for the San Diego Padres as they beat the Arizona Diamondbacks in their series opener, the opener of a 6-game road trip. The final score in Arizona tonight, the Padres 7 and the Diamondbacks 1. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. We have got a big post-game show for you on this Friday night here in America's finest city. The Padres not only winning their third in a row, a very nice, very clean, very team-oriented 7-1 win over the Diamondbacks, but the Padres, right before tonight's game began, reports started to come down that the Padres had traded for one of the best pure hitters in Major League Baseball. That is Luis Arraez. That trade reportedly going down just a few hours ago. So we have a lot to react to, a lot to talk about here tonight. We'll start by recapping tonight's game, breaking down how this one went in Arizona, but we'll let you sound off on the Arraez trade, on the 3-game winning streak for the Padres, and much more. But we've got a lot to do on a Friday night here on the Padres Radio Network. Let's quickly start with just some thoughts about this game. This was a great team win, like Jesse and Tony alluded to. The offense came alive in a big way. Big-time power from guys you want to see big-time power from. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., obviously Jake Cronenworth, also a home run in this game. Dylan Cease, terrific. 6 2/3 innings, 1 earned run given up. The defense by the Padres tonight was really good. And the bullpen between Jeremiah Estrada and Johnny Brito was really good as well. So you look at this game, really, in all phases, just a good team win. The Padres scoring 4 runs in the 4th inning, getting 3 more in the 5th inning. That would be plenty in this game because Dylan Cease was simply terrific. A great bounce-back outing for Dylan Cease after what was a tougher outing for him against the Phillies last weekend. And 7 runs, 12 hits. You look at what Fernando did here tonight, 3 for 5 with a home run, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Jake Cronenworth with a 3-hit game. He had a home run. Manny Machado crushed the ball for a 2-run home run. And for the most part, guys like Fernando and Manny, they did what you want them to do. They led the offense, and the starting pitching, the bullpen, all really good. And the Padres, quite frankly, took advantage of a Diamondbacks team that's struggling, and a starting pitcher in Slade Ciccone, who had put together a couple of really nice starts to begin his season, but a guy you felt like the Padres should be able to, at some level, handle. And they did that. He got 1 trip through the order perfect, 9 up, 9 down, but that second time through, the Padres were absolutely all over him. So good offense, plenty of offense here tonight, and then Dylan Cease and the bullpen did the rest. And look, after Monday's game against the Reds, Padres had 23 consecutive batters retired at one point in that ball game on Monday, 5 consecutive losses. Things did not feel great. Things, quite frankly, felt a little bit bleak with this team sitting 4 games below 500. Not a super easy schedule coming up. But to the Padres' credit, they turned around that homestand, picked up the final 2 games on Tuesday and Wednesday against Cincinnati, and seemingly carried some of that momentum onto the road after the off day and into Arizona. And now you look up, it's a 3-game winning streak. The Padres are 17-18, 1 game below 500. And oh, by the way, you can't tell me that clubhouse is not pretty fired up tonight, as the Padres, again, have reportedly made a trade for one of the best hitters, one of the best pure average on-base guys in Major League Baseball in Luis Arraez. So all in all, I would say it was a very good Friday evening for the Padres. A team win, good win all the way around, 3rd straight win. Padres picking up some steam as they begin this road trip, and the reported trade for Arraez. Certainly a very big deal. And again, we'll get deeper into the trade, what the Padres gave up, what this does for the Padres offense, how Arraez fits in the grand scheme of things. We will get into all of it, but we also have to do our normal stuff here on the post game. We'll have all the radio highlights for you. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt and much, much more to come. Again, the final score in Arizona, Padres 7, Diamondbacks 1. We are just getting started on a big Padres post game show on this Friday night on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. A big Friday night for the San Diego Padres. The Padres beat the Diamondbacks 7-1. The Padres also finding a way to, I've got my cell phone somewhere. I'm still learning this whole YouTube thing, checking the stream. Frank Marchese to my left. Can't believe it. Frank is appalled. Sorry, Frank. The audio is coming out of my phone. I've got a lot of devices here, all right? Happens every once in a while. Actually, funny story. When I first started doing Padres pre and post game, Frank will remember this. Every time I opened up the out-of-town scoreboard, the automatic ad would play through my laptop. So shows everybody about 2+ seasons later, I'm still doing the same stuff. Anyway, Padres win it here tonight, 7-1 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Padres have now won 3 in a row. Diamondbacks drop to 14-19. Padres improve to 17-18. Of course, that is only part of the story here tonight. If you are just hopping in your car, if you're just getting on your social media, on your YouTube, whatever it might be, the Padres, again, just moments before this game began in Arizona, reportedly trading for Luis Arraez, one of the best pure hitters in Major League Baseball. We'll dive more into the trade coming up a little bit later. We are going to have all the radio highlights from tonight's win coming up in just a little bit. We're also going to hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, so we're going to have all our usual post-game content for you, but I promise we will dive really deep into this Arraez trade. We'll let you sound off about it. We will take phone calls tonight, 833-288-0973, the phone number to call. We'll get to those later. Your comments, your tweets, your DMs, all of it. So we are going to get very, very deep into the Arraez trade. This is a big deal, no doubt about it, for the Padres, for their lineup. Also, of course, have to discuss what the Padres gave up. They did trade Dylan Head as part of the deal, their first-round pick from a year ago, highly touted prospect, and a couple of other guys who you thought might be in the Padres' future in the years to come. But you got to give up something to get something, and the Padres did get an excellent hitter in Luis Arraez. So again, we're going to dive all the way into it, take all your comments and your phone calls and everything, but also recap and react to this really nice 7-1 win for the Padres here tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks as the Padres win a third in a row. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit, but first let's break down how this one went in Phoenix.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
We had a pitcher's duel early on. Dylan Cease and Slade Cecconi traded zeros for the first 3 innings. In fact, Cecconi had gone 9 up, 9 down, entering the top of the fourth, but things changed in a hurry. Jurickson Profar walked to begin the inning. Fernando Tatis Jr. was next.
Here's the 2-1 to Fernando. That's hit in the air to very deep left center field. Oh, my goodness. Fernando Tatis Jr. way out to left center. Long home run. And the Padres' first hit of the night, a 2-run homer as they take a 2-0 lead.
Instant swag taker right there.
Then it was Jake Cronenworth.
Here's the 1-1. Cronenworth swings. He skies one to deep right field. Smith is back at the wall. This one gonna go! Back to back for the Pods here in the fourth inning. Cronenworth homers in his second consecutive game, and the Padres now lead it 3-0.
First time the Padres had gone back-to-back this season. Home run number 7 for Tatis. Home run number 6 for Jay Cronenworth. The second home run that Cronenworth has hit in his last 2 games. Padres weren't done. Manny Machado walked with 1 out and Manny on second. Jackson Merrill dug in.
Merrill first pitch swinging, line drive into right center field and a base hit. Manny rounding third, he'll score. Merrill hustling for second, he goes in head first with an RBI double. That snaps in 0 for 20 for Jackson Merrill, and the Padres add on, it's 4-0.
Merrill and the Padres had a 4-run fourth inning. Padres then got more in the fifth against Cecconi. Tyler Wade led off with a bunt single. He was on second for Fernando.
Ball and no strikes. Here's the pitch, and Fernando hits it hard on the ground through the left side, base hit. Wade will come in and score, and the Padres manufacture their 5th run of the night here in the 5th inning.
Matt Bowman would replace Cecconi from the D-backs bullpen. He faced Manny Machado.
3-1 to Manny. Here's the pitch, and Machado rips it into deep left field and gone. Wow, absolute line drive over the left field fence. If that wall is 8 feet tall, that thing never got more than 10 feet off the ground. Absolutely remarkable. A 2-run homer and a 7-0 Padre lead.
5th home run of the season for Manny Machado. Padres led 7-0, and you heard Jesse allude to it there. It was crushed. 112 miles per hour off the bat. It was only in the air for 3.5 seconds from the time it connected with Manny's bat to the time it hit the left field seats. So an absolute rocket for Manny Machado. Padres led 7-0 after 4.5 innings. D-backs got a run back against Dylan Cease with a couple of hits in the 5th to make it 7-1, but that was all the damage against Cease here tonight. He tossed a 1-2-3 6th inning, got the first 2 outs of the 7th before being removed at 102 pitches. He was outstanding. 6 2/3 innings, 1 earned run given up, 3 hits. He struck out 8, walked nobody. He was in line for the win, and the rest of the story was the Padres bullpen. Jeremiah Estrada came on to get the final out of the 7th inning, then a 1-2-3 8th inning. He continues to be terrific. Padres had a 7-1 lead heading to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Jody Brito came on, and he closed things up 1-2-3.
3-2 to Lourdes Gurriel Jr. with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Brito deals and a swing and a miss. Got him to chase a fastball up at 98, and a 1-2-3 ninth for Brito as the Padres take game 1 of this series 7-1. They have won 3 consecutive games.
A really nice win for the Padres here tonight as the Padres again improved to 17-18. They've won 3 in a row. D-backs dropped to 14-19. Final totals quickly for the Padres: 7 runs, 12 hits, no errors. They left on 7. Diamondbacks 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. They left on 1. Dylan Cease, the winner, he's now 4-2. Slade Ciccone, the losing pitcher, he's now 1-2. Padres here tonight went 3 for 12 with runners in scoring position. 3 home runs in this one from Tatis, Machado, and Cronenworth as the Padres pick up a really nice win on what was a very big night both on and off the field for the Padres. Let's go back to Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona, and here's some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Schultz. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Mike, even before you maybe get some offensive help, your offense had a big night.
Yeah, well played game, all phases. Cease set the tone, throwing up zeros, and then Todd's big 2-run homer. Crony follows him, and I love the fact we had it on even after that with Jackson driving in and driving in Manny. So and then add it on. That's good baseball.
What do you think of the potential to add a really good hitter?
Well, I think it's great. You're always looking for, more offense and a left-handed bat to balance the lineup. But, listen, nothing's official, so we'll leave it at that.
Certainly with sluggers like this, it pays to have a lot of the bat-to-ball skills and a lot of guys getting on base and then cashing in on those opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight we just took a lot of good at-bats, consistent at-bats. Did some of the small things that, Wade's bunt, move a runner, get a guy in. Of course, some damage, 3 homers. So, it's a collective output for the offense, and a really nice job.
Cronenworth's having a nice bounce-back season so far. What's allowed him to kind of get back to how he was 2 or 3 years ago?
Just right approach with the right swing. He's married both, and he's driving the ball at all different parts of the field, and not trying to do too much, just put a nice easy stroke on it. Throws the ball in the gap. Of course, you get the ball at the ballpark, and then goes the other way. So, just complete player, complete hitter.
How about Tatis?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
How about Tatis?
The homer or?
Yeah, the whole package, the way he's playing.
Yeah, he's a special talent. Big swing to get us on the board. Infield's in, doesn't try to do too much. Base hit through the infield. Facing a guy with a big arm, not try to do too much, just put his swings on it. Takes his base hit the other way, so, bodes well. Looks good.
How impressed have you been with, outside of a couple games, the way that he has maintained that approach?
Yeah, Ace, I think it's a great point. He could easily start to chase. He's gone through a stretch. He's barreled balls all year. He's taken great at-bats all season long. And, I know the frustration levels there when you don't get rewarded for it as much as he cares about performing for this team. But I applaud the fact that he's not starting to chase or get frustrated or show up in his game. And he's just showing up and getting a pitch to handle and putting a swing on it. And tonight he got rewarded, and we're looking for more of that trend.
We've seen Cease maybe a couple times from the other side before. When he's not walking guys like this, how tough is that, do you think, for opposing offense?
That's a great recipe for a lot of zeros and a lot of innings. The stuff's elite when he's controlling counts and making them put the ball in play. With this swing and miss stuff, it's impressive. He's done a tremendous job.
Thanks,
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, that was Padres manager Mike Shildt after this 7-1 win for the Padres against the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight in Arizona as the Padres win a third consecutive game, and the Padres now sitting just a game below 500 on this still very young 2024 season. A lot of questions there about the offense, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Dylan Cease, and let's take a moment to talk about Dylan Cease because he continues to be simply terrific in the early part of his Padre career. You look at the first start he had, little rocky, right? March 30th against the Giants. You look at the last one against the Phillies, 6 innings, 5 runs given up, but hey, that's a great Phillies lineup, and all the damage in that outing came with 2 outs, as we discussed at the time after that one on the Saturday night at Petco Park against the Phillies. Could have been a different line for Dylan Cease. And you know what? At the end of the day, he did manage to go 6 innings. But the other outings, aside from those 2, 6 innings, 2 runs given up, 6 innings, no earned runs given up, 6 innings, 1 earned run given up, 7 innings, 1 run given up, and then here tonight, 6 2/3, 1 run given up. He was dominant again here tonight, really, aside from a couple of hits back-to-back in the the bottom half of the 5th inning to start that frame. I mean, he gave up a double in the 1st inning. That was it. No walks tonight either for Dylan Cease. So to this point, he has been as advertised, and he has led this Padres rotation. And if you want to zoom out a little bit and look at this 3-game win streak now for the Padres, maybe even more encouraging than the offense doing some nice things, the way the starting pitching has looked the last 3 days, or I should say 3 games, 4 days. Darvish with 5 scoreless innings on Tuesday, then Joe Musgrove following it up on Wednesday afternoon, 6 innings, 2 runs given up, and then here tonight, Dylan Cease, more of the same. You hope it's a sign of what's to come from this Padres rotation, and we've talked about it many times before. If the Padres can pitch like this out of their starting rotation and get what you think the full potential is out of the top 4 in Darvish, Musgrove, Cease, and King, it does so much for this team day in, day out, and we've seen that now the last 3 games, how important that can be. On the offensive side here tonight, great to see Fernando hit the ball hard and get some results. It's been a tough couple of weeks for Fernando. You know, I didn't think the at-bats towards the end of the homestand necessarily looked great, but tonight hit the ball hard, 3 hits, the home run. Jake Cronenworth continues to do a lot of good things. He's now batting .279, 3 hits tonight, the home run, and Manny scorching a ball for a home run. The middle of the lineup did a great job tonight. Tatis 3 hits, Cronenworth 3 hits. Manny had the home runs. Xander Bogaerts did have a double in this game. He was 1 for 5. Jackson Merrill snapping an 0 for 20 skid, picking up an RBI double. That was good to see. So you hope tonight was a sign of guys like Tatis and Merrill in particular starting to break out of it. Tyler Wade had a couple of hits in this game. He continues to be fairly productive when he gets opportunities. Made a great play at third base tonight, and obviously this all goes along with what we've now referred to a handful of times, and that's the reported trade for Luis Arraez. So all in all, a good night for the Padres, and I'll tell you this as well, when you just look at this series against the Diamondbacks, you know, this Diamondbacks team, they're really banged up. They're sitting at 14-19. They've got some really important guys really scuffling right now, including Corbin Carroll, including Lourdes Gurriel Jr. The Padres are missing both Zach Allen and Merrill Kelly in this series. Kelly's on the 60-day IL, so we're not going to see him for a while. They will face Brandon Pfaadt tomorrow, and then right now it's TBA for the Diamondbacks on Sunday. So look, it's a nice opportunity for this series. You know, we talk about it all the time. It's not just how you play against teams, but it's when you play them, and you get the feeling that the Padres may be playing the Diamondbacks at a good time for the Padres right now, a team that's injured, a team that's not playing great. And on top of it, we talked about it pregame. Last 7 games, the Diamondbacks have been averaging 2 runs per game coming in. And here tonight, they had 1 run on 3 hits. So their offense isn't doing very much right now. Again, you got to take care of business, do what you need to do, and anybody can win any game on any given night. We understand that, but not a bad time for the Padres to play the Diamondbacks right now. And tonight, I think they did what they should have done, and that was hit Ciccone a little bit, get a great outing from Cease, good stuff from the bullpen, and a very nice, clean, and a team, if you will, 7-1 win over the Diamondbacks. All right, well, a lot more to do on our post-game coverage. When we come back, we'll continue to cycle through our normal post-game stuff, our daily awards, full out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more to come. And we will also start breaking down this Luis Arraez trade and take your comments on it and your calls on it. So if you want to get involved, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, the phone number to call. We'll dive in even deeper into it when we come back on the other side of this break. We'll take your YouTube comments, your Facebook, Twitter comments on the video streams if you want to get involved that way. Twitter, Instagram, DMs open as well. Of course, on Twitter or Instagram, handle is Sammy Lev, SAMMYLEV. SAMMYLEV if you want to get involved that way. So we will continue to break down the game, but we're also really going to start talking about this Arraez deal and let you sound off on it as well. Again, the phone number, 833-288-0973 if you want to get involved that way. Final score in Arizona as the Padres win a third in a row. Padres 7, Diamondbacks 1. More after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. Final score here tonight, Padres 7 and the Diamondbacks 1. Padres again improved to a record of 17 and 18. Diamondbacks dropped to 14 and 19 as the Padres win a third in a row. And again, the big news here tonight, aside from the Padres picking up a really nice win, the big news that Luis Arraez has reportedly been traded to the San Diego Padres. So, a again, we'll take your phone calls here coming up. 833-288-0973. The phone number, 833-288-0973. The phone number to call if you want to get involved on Twitter or Facebook on the video stream, or if you want to DM me, you can do it in a number of different ways. Twitter or Instagram, you can DM me at Sammy Lev, SAMMYLEV. Again, SAMMYLEV. Or if you want to get involved on the video stream, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you can comment on there. We'll address your comments and all your reaction to this reported Luis Arraez trade as we go along here on our Padres postgame show on the Padres Radio Network. So let's talk a little bit more about this trade. Let's start with who the Padres got in this deal. What is the player? Who is Luis Arraez? Well, quite simply, Luis Arraez is one of the best pure hitters in baseball. And I'll read through his career numbers year by year because I really think it stands out. 2019, his rookie season, 334 batting average, 399 on base percentage. 2020, 321 batting average, 364 on base percentage. 2021, he hit 294 with a 357 on base percentage. 2022, a 316 batting average, that's a National League best, 375 on base percentage. 2023, a 354 batting average, that was the best in the major leagues, 393 on base percentage. 2024, 299 batting average, 347 on base percentage. So again, the last 2 years, he has led the National League in hitting at 316 and then 354 last season. And this year got off to a slow start and is hitting 299. So he's right there at 300 once again. What Luis Arraez does is put the bat on the baseball. He is a pure hitter. Doesn't have a ton of power, although when you look at his home run numbers over the course of his career, they almost surprise you. Last year he had 10. The year before that he had 8. That power has increased a little bit the last couple of years, but what he does, he puts the bat on the ball and he does not strike out. He struck out 34 times in 617 plate appearances last year, 43 times in 603 plate appearances in 2022. He puts the ball in play. He finds ways to get on base. And from the on-base and bat-to-ball skill perspective, you will not find many better than Luis Arraez. Maybe none better right now in baseball. And he's done it both in Minnesota and he's done it now in Miami as well. So does he make this lineup better? Absolutely. He adds a lot to this lineup. He adds a degree of bat-to-ball skills that is really, really rare to find, and Arraez has done it year after year after year. It lengthens this lineup. I tweeted out the potential lineup for the Padres earlier, and again, this does not include the potential addition of Donovan Solano at some point, but let's forget about Solano right now. And let's just focus on what this lineup likely looks like. And again, these parts can be moved around. I'm not saying this is necessarily where everybody's going to hit, but maybe it is what it looks like when all is said and done and when Luis Arraez is added to this lineup. It's Arraez. Let's put him at DH for this exercise. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field, batting second. Jake Cronenworth at first base. Manny Machado at third. Xander Bogaerts at second. Jerkson Profar in left. Luis Campusano, the catcher. Ha-Seong Kim at shortstop. And Jackson Merrill, the center fielder. As long as the guys in this lineup, like Tatis and Machado and Bogaerts and Cronenworth, continues to do what he's been doing, and you get what you think you're going to get from Campusano, if somehow Jerkson Profar keeps up what he's doing at this kind of rate, that's awesome. Even if he comes back down to earth a little bit, that's okay. Kim, certainly you hope for more from him, and obviously Merrill got off to a nice start, has scuffled a little bit. You hope he bounces back here in the coming days and weeks. It lengthens this lineup a lot. It does. And it gives them just a bona fide, pure hitter. It makes the offense better. It makes the lineup better. And I love it in a place like Petco Park where you can spray the ball around. He should thrive there in a park that has a lot of room to roam. So it makes this offense a lot better. And he is a terrific, pure hitter. That is what Luis Arraez is. Bottom line. So it's an exciting acquisition, no doubt about it. And the other good part about it, this is not a trade where you only have him till the end of this year. It's a trade much like the Dylan Cease trade where you have him through the end of next year. So that is certainly a lot of added value. But does it make this offense better? Does it make this lineup better? Absolutely. You can't add a guy like Luis Arraez and not have it make your offense better. This is a better lineup than it was a few hours ago. And it lengthens the lineup as well. It really does. And it also, I think, really takes care of the DH spot one way or another. Now, we'll see how the Padres and A.J. Preller and Mike Schultz want to use Arraez. He's somebody who can play the infield, obviously, play second base for the most part. Look, this may be sort of a revolving door at DH. Now the Padres have a lot of infielders. They've got Cronenworth, they've got Machado, they've got Bogarts, they've got Kim. This could be a situation where that DH becomes a bit of a revolving door, gets guys off their feet. Maybe most days it's Arraez, maybe most days it's not. But certainly you can now shuffle guys around on any given day to fit some different needs and use that DH in a lot of different ways. And Arraez can play first base as well, which is nice. So, again, it gives the Padres, I think, some flexibility. I think the question about the DH spot gets answered one way or another on any given night with Arraez, and he is a great hitter. What did the Padres give up? They didn't give up nothing. They gave up, number one, their first-round pick from a year ago, Dylan Head, who is really talented, who is really fast, who at this moment was playing at Low A Lake Elsinore. Dylan Head is a ways away. Now, Dylan Head may end up being a great player. He's certainly somebody the Padres were very high on. They were still very high on him this spring. Tons of speed, a guy that they think will hit for more power eventually, and has great bat-to-ball skills. They give up Dylan Head. Jacob Marcy, somebody the Padres were looking at spring training, had a big Arizona Fall League, and is somebody who could be a good major leaguer. Nathan Martorella was off to a really nice start in the minor leagues this year. Again, somebody who had a really nice season in 2023 in the minor leagues, and somebody who was around Major League spring training for a while. And then the final part of the trade, Usuk Go, who, look, the Padres signed out of Korea. I'll tell you this, Go did not make the major league roster at spring training, and there was a reason for that, whether that is stuff he has to work on, him not being ready, or the fact, or not the fact, or just it wasn't there, at least in spring training. And the Padres not only send Go to Miami, they also get the money off their books as they add Arraez. So, I'm not really focused on the Go part of it at all, to be quite honest with you. I think, look, it's a good part of it for the Padres because they get some money off the books as they add some money now in Arraez. But, look, I wish Go the best with the Marlins, and we'll see, kind of what develops with him as far as the major leagues. But he's somebody the Padres signed out of Korea and didn't end up making the team at a spring training. So, and it wasn't apparent that was going to happen necessarily anytime soon. So Go heads over to Miami. But look, the mix of Head, Marcy, and Martorella, did the Padres give up some talent? They did. Did they give up the top-tier talent in their minor league system? Look, Head came into today ranked as the number 6 prospect in the Padres system. Marcy was number 9. And again, not that these prospect rankings mean everything. They do mean something. Marcy number 9, Martorella number 13. I know there was belief within the organization that Marcy could be a contributor. The Padres really did give him a look during spring training, elected to send him to Double-A for more development. They didn't give up nothing, but again, they didn't give up the top tier part of their system, and they didn't give up, I think most importantly, any of their top tier young pitching, which is hard to find. Snelling, Lesko, Mazer, Bergert, guys that may be able to help, especially I think in the case of somebody like Adam Mazer pretty soon here. I wouldn't be shocked to see Adam Mazer in the major leagues at some point this year. So you got to give up something to get something. The Padres, did they give up potentially 3 major leaguers in Head, Martorella, and Marcy? Yeah, they may have. But I think based on the strength of the system, I'm okay with it. I really am. I really think I'm okay with it based on the strength of the system and who the Padres still have. And also, look, and you know what? We got to take a legal ID here. So let's step aside for one moment, pause for station identification. We'll come back in a moment on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we break down a lot here tonight. The Padres winning 7-1 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. They've won now 3 in a row. Padres now 17-18. And on top of all that, the Padres reportedly trading for infielder Luis Arraez from the Miami Marlins. But just to put a bow on the conversation about the prospects the Padres gave up, look, again, you got to give up something to get something. Could Marcy be good? Sure. Could Martorella be a good major leaguer? Sure. Could Head be a good major leaguer? It's a great major leaguer? Sure. I'm not saying there was no talent given up. Those are all top 15 prospects in the organization as of this morning. But I think based on the strength of the system, based on some of the guys that really aren't going anywhere. I mean, consider this, right? I mean, the Padres right now have 2 outfielders in Tatis and Merrill, and first baseman in Cronenworth. You know, at least for now, Jake's at first base, and a lot of infielders that aren't going anywhere. So I think you have to keep that in mind. And I also think the fact that the Padres didn't touch the young pitching, I think, is a big deal. I think that would have made this hurt a little bit more, quite a bit more, had there been a guy like Snelling or a Lesko or a Mazer or a Bergert in this trade. But I thought A.J. Preller did a good job in avoiding those guys while also maintaining plenty of position player strength in his system. And those guys are a little bit younger. As I think about it as we're talking here, and we'll go to break here in a second and kind of reset things, I guess the one negative out of the group is that when you talk about it from a more immediately available position player perspective, Marcy and Martorella were towards the top of those guys who could be ready even at some point this season. Somebody like a Salas, certainly somebody like a Leo DeVries, unless they end up rushing Salas to the major leagues this season, they're a little bit more of a ways away. But you look at the Padres roster, and aside from really, especially now with the rise, bench spots and utility spots, as we're seeing right now with Graham Pauley in the major leagues, there's not necessarily those at-bats to get anyway right now or in the next year or two. So, again, you got to give up something, but you get back one of the best hitters in baseball, if not the best pure contact, get on base, average hitter in the game. And, you give up a little bit, but you also keep a lot in what is considered a very strong system. All right. We'll let you sound off about it when we come back. We'll take your phone calls, your tweets, your DMs, your YouTube comments here in a second after this break. Again, the phone number, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, the phone number to call. Again, the final score here tonight, Padres 7, Diamondbacks 1. Much more post-game coverage coming after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. Padres win it 7-1 here tonight over the Miami not over the Miami Marlins, over the Arizona Diamondbacks. I've got Marlins on the brain now. Over the Arizona Diamondbacks, Padres have now won 3 in a row. D-backs dropped to 14-19. Padres now back to a game below 500 at 17-18. Again, we will take your phone calls here in a moment. 833-288-0973. The phone number to call, 833-288-0973. The phone number. Do want to address some of your tweets, your YouTube comments here as we go, and we are going to get through the rest of our normal post-game stuff throughout the course of the next 30, 40 minutes here. Do want to address some of your tweets here. Jonathan saying, would you have Luis Arraez batting leadoff? What would your lineup be? I put him in the leadoff spot in the mock lineup I put together. I'd probably have him as your leadoff guy. That's, no offense to Jerks and Profar, but maybe not. If Profar continues to be great in the leadoff spot, maybe it's Pro still there. But Arraez is such a great on-base guy and contact guy. I think it makes a lot of sense at the top of your order. But we'll see, when he gets here and what the Padres elect to do. I think he's the type of hitter that could hit in a few different spots based on the quality of his bat-to-ball skills and what he does. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's get you involved here. 833-288-0973, the phone number to call. We may have some 97.3 The Fan talent calling in a little while as well to break down this trade. Let's begin things here tonight with Matt in Point Loma. Matt, you're on the Padres Radio Network. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Sammy?
Doing well. What's up?
All right, a couple points. I heard the trade break, I want to say 8th inning, and this is like a trade deadline type deal. You know what I mean? I was blown away with the fact that we got Luis Arraez. What do you feel about it going Arraez, Profar, and then maybe bumping? I know it's 3 right-handed bats, but going Arraez, Profar, and then maybe going Tatis third. I don't know. I mean, Cronenworth has been doing really good at the 3 spot, and it's a left-handed bat. But this just opens up a lot of different doors.
Say it again. Arraez, Profar, Tatis, you said?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. But, regardless of how they draw it up, how Schultz draws it up, this is definitely a trade that I think signifies to the fan base that they're going for the pennant. That, at least that's to do this in May shows the fan base hey, we got a team here, we're going for it.
Yeah, well, Matt, look, I agree with you on this point. Look, it's certainly a going for it move, much like the Cease move was, right? I mean, it's, I think, an indicator, a continuing indicator, and I think we kind of thought this even before the Cease trade, that the Padres didn't view this season as any kind of reset coming off last year, coming off the payroll reduction. And I think the Cease trade and now the Arraez trade really speaks volumes to that. Does it guarantee you anything? Of course not. But are the Padres a better team? Certainly on paper. And it's a little bit different now because, we're into the season. But, yeah, I mean, they're certainly a better team with Cease and Arraez than they were beforehand. And I think Arraez makes your lineup better. I don't know that I'd have Arraez and Profar back-to-back to start the lineup because that just feels like, too long to get to Tatis. And I feel like you want Fernando up in those first 2 batters, and you want to get to Manny before that. So, not before Tatis, but Manny earlier. So I'm not sure. I wouldn't focus too much here today, in this moment on what the lineup looks like, but I certainly, would focus on the impact that somebody like Arraez has on your ball club and on your lineup. And I think it can be really, really impactful as far as what he brings on a day in, day out basis. So, Matt, we'll see. It certainly is a going for it type move. Does it get you all the way there? Well, first you got to make the postseason, and first you got to play better baseball for the most part than what they've played now through 35 games. Even though you've won 3 in a row, you're still a game below 500. But there's no doubt this lineup's better than it was a few hours ago. There's no doubt about it. So it is a move that indicates that you are competing and you are serious about this season. Not that we needed really any confirmation of that at this point, I don't think, but it is further confirmation of that. And I like the deal because I think the Padres did pretty well here in maintaining the top group of guys, the top group of arms, while getting a really unique and impactful hitter in Luis Arraez. So, Matt, appreciate the phone call, and thank you for listening in, tuning in. A lot of comments here and whatnot, so we'll try to cycle through them as we go, and we do also need to work in our normal post-game stuff in the post-game show as well. So let's take a moment, and let's go back to tonight's game. Padres win it 7-1 over the Diamondbacks. Let's tell you about our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Our relief pitcher of the game here tonight, give it to Jeremiah Estrada, who continues to be terrific out of the pen in his early Padre tenure. Inning and a third scoreless, no hits, no walks, one strikeout, efficient, 17 pitches. So no doubt about it here tonight. Jeremiah Estrada, our relief pitcher of the game. He has been really, really good since coming up from AAA El Paso. So far in 3 appearances now for Estrada. You look at what he's done. To this point, 6+ innings, 6 2/3 to be exact. No runs, 1 hit given up, and he struck out 5 in those 6+ innings. So he's been really, really good. And I think a lot of people saw what he was doing in the minor leagues after a really strong spring. And he's come up to the major leagues. He's continued to really do what he's done since spring training. So no doubt about it here tonight. Jeremiah Estrada, our relief pitcher of the game. While we are rolling through tonight's game, recapping tonight's game, let's continue on with our player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Bites. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
Here's the 2-1 to Fernando. That's hit in the air to very deep left center field. Oh, my goodness. Fernando Tatis Jr. way out to left center. Long home run. And the Padres' first hit of the night, a 2-run homer as they take a 2-0 lead.
Instant swag taker right there.
Fernando Tatis Jr., our player of the game here tonight. 3 hits, the home run, 3 RBIs, couple of runs scored. Big night for Fernando, hopefully a breakout night for Fernando, and he is tonight's player of the game as the Padres win it 7-1 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. All right, we'll step aside here on the Padres Radio Network. When we come back, we'll hear from Craig Elston of Annie and Elston. He'll chime in with his thoughts about the Luis Arraez trade and maybe even give you a thought about tonight's game. So we'll hear from Craig. He'll call in briefly when we come back. We'll also continue to take your phone calls if you want. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. The phone number to call if you want to get involved that way. During the break, I'm going to comb through some of your comments, your tweets. We'll pull some of those and address those as well. Final score here tonight, Padres 7, Diamondbacks 1. More after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Padres 7 and the Diamondbacks 1. Sam Levitt with you on our post-game coverage from inside our San Diego studios as the Padres pick up a very nice team win here tonight. Very clean, very easy here tonight, picking up their third consecutive win. We'll have the full out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. We'll also give you our play of the game and wrap things up on this big Friday night. Here in America's finest city, a big trade reportedly made. Padres trading for Luis Arraez. Again, the return going back to Miami. Reportedly, reliever Woo Suk Go, who the Padres signed in the offseason from Korea. Dylan Head, the first-round pick from a year ago. In top 15 prospects per MLB.com, Jacob Marcy and Nathan Martorella. So let's get some more insight on this trade, some more opinion on this trade. We bring in Craig Elston of Annie and Elston, weekdays 10 to 2 here on 97.3 The Fan. And, of course, we don't have any of our normal daily programming until Monday morning at 6 a.m. So good opportunity here for Craig Elston to hop on, give us his opinion on this deal. Craig, how are you tonight? I understand you were at the Seals game, so I'm sure that was fun and a lot to follow on the Padres front as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Sammy. I was out there supporting our Seals. Unless they had a miracle comeback, they did not finish it off game one the way we would have liked. And then I got in the car and heard you were already on and kind of rolling and taking calls. So happy to jump in with a little bit of opinion on what is a wild deal to make right here at the end of April for the San Diego Padres. I mean, clearly A.J. Preller, we know he is in a pressure situation this year because this is the type of deal that a GM in a pressure situation makes. It's one fewer year of control than I'd like for Luis Arraez, but I tell you what, I remember the very first time, Sammy, that Ben and I walked in with like Eric Judson and hard hats and looking at the outline of Petco Park. And I'm like, this is going to be a park that was built for Tony Gwynn, and Tony Gwynn never got to play here. And it's just a darn shame. And the player whose swing is the most emblematic of what Tony used to be that Padre fans would remember is Luis Arraez. It's exciting to think about his potential in that park.
Yeah, for sure. And you look at the numbers as far as what he does on base wise and just the bat to ball skills. I'm with you. I think his swing, who he is very much tailored to the park, and his strengths will play there. Let's first focus on just the Arraez part of it, how he fits on this team, how he fits in this lineup. How do you believe the Padres are going to utilize Arraez and how he'll fit in the greater picture of this infield and this lineup?
Well, I think you've made a couple of really good points, as I was driving home that I heard. And the first is that while generally and probably, 50-ish plus % of his at-bats will be at DH, the fact that he can play first base, he can play second base, Bogarts could play short to give Kim a day off. Kim could play third to give Manny a day off. If you keep Tyler Wade around, he can play all those positions as well. It gives Mike Schilt a lot of versatility to cycle through players, give them a day off their feet, utilize the DH slot in that manner, and instead of always cycling between Edgar Rosario and Tyler Wade, you've got Luis Arraez or one of your regular starters in that spot. So it's, I've said since the day we came on the air that the team was a bat short. And Luis Arraez is a bat, believe me. So I think they've really filled a need here. There's a lot of cost and there's a lot of risk. Yeah. But he's filled a big need.
Yeah, and I think also with Arraez, just as I was looking at his numbers, it's not like he doesn't have any pop, be it 10 home runs last year, 8 the year before. Look, he's not going to be a 20-plus home run hitter. We understand that, but I think he makes up for a lot of it by just what he does, getting on base and the bat-to-ball skills, all of it. And typically the last couple of years, he's had 30 or more doubles, so you hope there is some extra bases in there. And like we've alluded to, hopefully Petco Park is really tailored to some of his strengths and spraying the ball around. You alluded to it, Craig. You got to give up something to get something. And, if you heard what I said about the package, look, I think the Padres potentially gave up 3 legit major leaguers and had Marcy and Martorella. I also thought they didn't touch their upper level, or I should say, kind of not even upper level, but, highly touted pitching prospects. And also, obviously, they've got a deep system. And we've now seen a couple of times with the Cease trade and this trade, they are dealing from what is a deep system. They do have that luxury to do that if they want. Your thoughts on the package and what the Padres gave up?
Overall, I'm fine with it. The very first tweet I read didn't have Marcy in it, and I thought it was a steal.
Yeah, me too.
So, adding Marcy into it puts a little bit of a pinch because you can see left field being a position. We know how great the Jurickson is going, and he's having an incredible season. I hope it continues. If it does, they'll probably re-up him for a year or two. But there's an opportunity to play at some point in left field for the Padres going forward. I mean, it's really crazy how many positions are just locked in for the Padres for years and years. And that's why Padre fans, I think, need to look at the cost and see how unimportant it is in many ways. Nathan Martorella didn't have a position unless he was going to blast his way through everybody and be the DH or the first baseman, right? If Bush makes it, then Head doesn't, or Head does, then Bush doesn't. Like, those guys are kind of redundant. So trading one of them makes perfect sense within the organization. And if there's one thing that we know for sure about AJ is that, you knock it down a little bit. Now you've taken, kind of 6 guys out of a system that was flush. In 2 years, he can put that right back to where it was, because if there's one thing he's good at, it is drafting guys, getting them through a system, creating helium, creating buzz, prospect ranking rising, and then he turns that into bona fide major league talent with a couple plus years of control. He's done it again. He did it with Cease. He's done it with Arraez. This is his modus operandi as a general manager. And it creates a lot of excitement. And I'm excited to watch Luis Arraez in a Padres uniform.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note, Craig, I think because of the fact that the Padres have traded so many prospects away the last few years, although to his credit, A.J. Preller has been able to very quickly rebuild the system, that there is sort of a feeling amongst part of the fan base of, well, hey, we've got to start hanging on to some of these guys. But I also think it's important to note, Craig, and I'm interested to hear if you agree or what you think about what I'm about to say, that the reality is this. The Padres at the same time, while they do need to start building from within, promoting from within, they do need to also acknowledge at the same time that they have a window here with the primes of Manny and Xander and Fernando and a couple of other guys, Cronenworth, Darvish, Musgrove, Cease is here now, King is here now. There is still a need to improve this team when you can improve this team. Arraez does that, and I think that has maybe in the past few months, because of what's transpired, some of the disappointment of last year, how you could argue the Soto trade didn't work all the way out based on how it all transpired. I think it's important to remember the window the Padres have right now, and that's why the Cease and Arraez moves, I think, at a lot of levels makes a lot of sense.
I could not agree more. It's not just A.J. Preller's job security. It is the status of the franchise. And, I saw a couple of great Padre fans at the Seals game, and we were chatting at halftime. And one of the comments was, so it's this year and next year, isn't it? And, I mean, I'm not saying it's completely that. We know there's some incredibly young, exciting players like Salas and DeVries that are coming through, and Lesko and Snelling, et cetera. There is a mode where this team can perpetuate, but Manny won't get younger, nor will Xander. Tatis is now approaching his athletic prime at 25. So this is the time to strike. It's the time in every sense. And I'm excited to see the Padres are spending toward the top of, approaching that competitive balance tax limit. At the same time, it does, by getting Arraez, who has an actual cost to him, it does mean that they are pretty close to that now. So the next move at the deadline that people would be excited to make is a lot harder to make unless you move out salary. So another thing to think about, as we go forward, it's assets allocated. There's always opportunity costs, but this team did need another bat. Do they need another arm too down the line? Probably, but we're going to go as far as this rotation takes us. I still will say that even with Arraez, but it's really exciting. Here's the last thing, Sammy, and I'll let you go. I know there's a lot of fans that want to get in here too. It's really interesting to see what a strategic and tactical choice has been made by this Padres organization by now dedicating a huge number of at-bats to Luis Arraez, potentially Solano coming up as well.
Right.
It's a decision to step away from all-or-nothing power hitters, from the 3 true outcome, walk, home run, strikeout players, such as a Gary Sanchez. Soto is like the platonic ideal version of that, but still he is kind of that thing.
Right.
Grisham, of course, is maybe the opposite, but still he's a version of that thing. And now you've got Merrill, who swings line drive at the Xander, line drives, gap hitter. Arraez, line drives, gap hitter. There's a lot of players that are prone to contact, fewer walks, fewer strikeouts, fewer homers, hopefully more doubles. And that's exciting. I think it's always what Petco Park has invited as a potentially consistent offense. And I'll be really interested to see if Arraez makes this team more consistent in being able to get to that 4-run mark, which they should be able to win at.
Yeah, and you see how he rubs off on other guys, right? He's got, an approach that obviously has worked, and he gets on base and the bat-to-ball skills and all of it. So you certainly wonder how he rubs off on the lineup as a whole. And I thought Jesse and Tony tonight, Craig, made a really good point that, there's a lot, and it's kind of what you were saying. There are a lot of pesky at-bats in this lineup. When Fernando's right, he can certainly put together a very pesky at-bat. Cronenworth in that category. Merrill, Campusano certainly has the ability to do that, and Profar even. I mean, for the most part, gives you a really good at-bat, whether it ends up being on base or not. But, Craig, appreciate the time. I think we're pretty much on the same page with this thing, and we'll see when Luis Arraez is in the lineup. Could be as soon as tomorrow, depending on when this all gets finalized, how quickly they can get him to Arizona. But if not, I would highly assume if all the physicals are good that we could see Luis Arraez in this lineup by the end of the weekend. So we'll see how it all shakes out, but appreciate you calling in on this late Friday night, and we'll talk to you, or I suppose hear from you, on Annie and Elston at 10 a.m. on Monday. Thank you.
You certainly will, and I will say, go Padres.
All right, that is Craig Elston joining us here on the Padres Radio Network. Really good stuff there from Craig as the Padres win it 7-1 over the Arizona Diamondbacks on this Friday night in Arizona. Padres again now moved to 17-18 on the year. D-backs drop to a record of 14-19. All right, we'll continue to cycle through some of the comments here and whatnot. Let's knock out a couple of our normal post-game features. Let's begin as we take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at scores today from around the major leagues. Let's see, has everything gone final already today? It has. All right, the finals today. Dodgers beat the Braves 4-3 in 11 up in L.A. Andy Pajes, the walk-off hit in that one for the Dodgers. A's beat the Marlins 3-1 in Oakland. Brent Rooker a home run in that game for the A's. Cardinals beat the White Sox 3-0 in St. Louis. Nolan Arenado a 2-run double in that game for the Cardinals. Astros beat the Mariners 5-3 in Houston. Twins beat the Red Sox 5-2 in Minnesota. Ryan Jeffers a 2 RBI double in that game. Royals beat the Rangers 7-1 in Kansas City. Salvador Perez a 3-run home run in that one for KC. Angels beat the Guardians 6-0 in Cleveland. Mickey Moniak a 3-run home run in that game for the Angels. The Yankees beat the Tigers 2-1 in New York earlier. Giancarlo Stanton and Anthony Rizzo played big parts in that game. I want to tell you what happened there as the Yankees won it 2-1. Yeah, base hit by Stanton to tie it. Base hit in the ninth inning from Rizzo to win it in that win for the Yankees. Nationals beat the Blue Jays 9-3 in Washington. Luis Garcia Jr., a go-ahead 3-run home run in that game for the Nats. Phillies beat the Giants 4-3 in Philadelphia. Rockies beat the Pirates 3-2 in Pittsburgh. Orioles beat the Reds 3-0 in Cincinnati. Ryan O'Hearn, a home run in that game for Baltimore. They're now 21-11. Brewers beat the Cubs at Wrigley Field earlier today 3-1. Rays beat the Mets 10-8 in Tampa Bay. Earlier, Randy Arozarena, a home run in that game. Brett Beatty, a home run in that game for the Mets. But the Rays beat the Mets 10-8. And that's a look at the full out-of-town scoreboard on this Friday night. Padres win it 7-1 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Let's hear our play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's play of the game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
3-1 to Manny. Here's the pitch. And Machado rips it into deep left field and gone. Wow. Absolute line drive over the left field fence. If that wall is 8 feet tall, that thing never got more than 10 feet off the ground. Absolutely remarkable. A 2-run homer and a 7-0 Padre lead.
Manny Machado's home run, the 2-run shot to make it 7-0 in the fifth. Our play of the game here tonight for Manny. His 5th home run of the season. One of 3 home runs the Padres hit in this game, and the Padres go on to win it by a final score of 7-1. Those 7 runs on 12 hits, plenty in this one here tonight. Again, Fernando Tatis Jr. a home run, his 7th of the season. Jay Cronenworth a home run, his 6th of the season. Manny Machado, his 5th home run of the season with that 2-run blast. It was an absolute rocket, 112 miles per hour off the bat, 3.5 seconds of hang time, which is not a lot. It was smoked and didn't get very high off the ground. It was just a line drive rocket off the bat of Manny Machado, and that helping propel the Padres to a 7-1 win. All right, good job by everybody tonight. Big thank you to Craig Elston calling in. Great job by Frank Marchese on the board here tonight, manning things over on the controls and whatnot. And appreciate all the YouTube comments and the tweets and the DMs. I know we didn't get to a ton of them, but hey, hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, a big night for the Padres. As always, the trade is not official until we get the confirmation from the teams. You know, there are physicals to go through and things to be tied up as you complete a trade like this. But again, reportedly, the Padres trading for Luis Arraez from the Miami Marlins. The package going back to Miami. Reliever Usa Go. Dylan Head, first-round pick by the Padres last year. Outfielder currently playing at Low A Lake Elsinore. Jacob Marcy and Nathan Martorella. They're playing at Double A San Antonio. By the way, I would encourage you to go online and check out the video of tonight's game. This is in Little Rock, Arkansas, between the Arkansas Travelers and the San Antonio Missions, where Martorella and Marcy are playing. Luke Muntz, the Missions manager, had to take Martorella literally off second base. He's on second base. He's a base runner. And went to the umpire. This is, I think, the 3rd inning. Very random moment. Goes to the umpire. Tells the umpire what he's doing, and then signals to Martorella to come off second base. And you can see in the video, Martorella has no idea what's going on. And he's throwing his hands up saying, why are you taking me out? I mean, he's rightfully, unbelievably confused. Rightfully so on what's going on. Well, it turns out that Luke Muntz, the Missions manager, got word he's got to take him out. Somebody got word to that Missions dugout, hey, you got to get Martorella and Marcy out of this game. And literally had to take Martorella off second base and replace him. I don't know who replaced him on second, but it was really wild. And Martorella has no idea what's going on. comes off the field, and at some point while he comes off the field, obviously it's communicated to him why he's being taken out. And then very quickly it appeared Mortarella and Morrissey then walked off the field and towards the clubhouse in Little Rock, Arkansas, which I know from experience is actually in the right field corner. So you can see them walking that way, and they give out some hugs, I think, to the first base coach. I'd have to go back and watch the video, but that's the business, huh? And look, while you might watch the video and say to yourself, oh, that's really tough. Well, it is tough in the moment. There's a lot going on there, but you can always make the argument for a prospect when they get traded that it's not always the worst thing for them, right? Because now you have an opportunity in an organization that values you. And hey, I would be willing to bet that those three guys, Head, Marcy, and Mortarella, they will be major league players, whether it's with Miami or another team. And certainly, again, this is all reported, not done yet, but wish them the best in their future endeavors, and got a chance to know Dylan and Jacob and Nathan during spring training. So certainly wish them the best in their new chapter of their baseball careers, and the Padres getting Luis Arraez back in the deal. All right, taking a look ahead at tomorrow's game, Game 2 of this 3-game series. On the mound for the Padres, right-hander Michael King. On the mound for the Diamondbacks, right-hander Brandon Pfaadt. First pitch tomorrow a little bit earlier at 5:10 p.m. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show begins at 4:10. Certainly hope you can join us then. And we take one final look at the totals here tonight. For the Padres, 7 runs, 12 hits, no errors. They left on 7. For the Diamondbacks, 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. They left on 1. Winning pitcher in this game, Dylan Cease, who improves to 4-2. Losing pitcher was Slade Ciccone, who drops to 1-2. Time of game, 2 hours and 36 minutes. And the crowd here at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona, 31,976. Once again, first pitch tomorrow at 5:10, pregame coverage at 4:10. For our great studio coordinator, Frank Marchese, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside our San Diego studios. Final score here tonight, the San Diego Padres 7 and the Arizona Diamondbacks 1. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network.